Right now we're going to help you get ready for the fall vegetable garden. We're joined by Jay White from Texas Gardener Magazine. And Jay, this is a time of year where people have a lot of transitioning to do.
It's the last weekend in September. We're going into October. So, if you've gardened long in Texas, you're probably well into the garden right now. You planted some things even back in August. But October really is one of the best times to garden in Texas, especially if you did do a little preparation to have things in already.
Right.
Because a lot of those things that we really enjoy in Texas, and we get to enjoy both in the spring and the fall, like the squashes and the cucumbers and things like that, they really are so much more tender and to me so much more tasty when they mature in the slightly cooler weathers of what we call fall.
Right.
So,
and there's a lot of people who think that the fall vegetable garden is the joy of gardening in Texas.
I'm right there with them. I mean, nobody can deny that when March starts coming around, everybody's antsy. You've been inside for a month or two, and everybody wants to get out there. It gets hot awful quick in Texas.
Right.
And so you start out in March, and it's very nice. By April, it's warming up. By May, it's a chore. By June, the weeds are taking over. Yeah. But the good thing about fall gardening in Texas is, you start out and it's hot, but each month it gets a little better. And then the other thing that's great about it is that cooler weather, it's slowing down the weeds too.
Sure, right.
So if you're like me, I'm one of those guys, I hate weeds.
Right.
And so I love fall because I've got less pulling to do. And
Exactly. And we were sharing before that we got started some tips that folks might need to want. You had a great idea about transplants, which is transplanting wet to wet.
Right.
What does that mean? Because it sounds like a great survival technique for people who are moving young starts into the garden.
That's true. So October, end of September into October it's a neat time in Texas, but some of our transplants and all, we're kind of getting close to the end of where we can successfully get them in and avoid that first freeze. In our areas right now, November 16th is somewhere around there is our average first freeze date. So this September 29th, I mean, really, we've got 6 weeks. That's it. And most vegetables have more than a 42-day maturation time. So if you're going to be successful right now, like you said, you mentioned the wet to wet. You want to buy the most healthy transplants you can find, especially right now. The things that are going to succeed are the brassicas, the family in that cole crop group.
Right.
The broccolis, the cauliflowers, the Brussels sprouts, which I love. So all of those cole crops, get the transplants now. Before you plant them, our weather's so weird. Sometimes we get floods, sometimes we have droughts. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that the soil is conditioned. So at a minimum, you want to have been watering for several days. I like to say 5 days, but it could be 2 or 3 depending on the time. So you want to make sure that the soil is ready to receive the plant.
Right.
But you also want to make sure that your transplants have been receiving ample moisture too. I mean, a lot of people don't realize this, but some plants, when you put them in, if you ever let them dry out, it will either stunt them or, in a lot of cases, it will kill them.
Sure thing.
So, I mean, truly, the key to a successful fall gardening is kind of controlling that moisture content of the soil. And so if you've been super dry, you want to, you really want to water, make sure you've got ample water for them, but not too much. You can drown stuff too. And along with that too is you want to do proper feeding. I mean, the stuff in the fall garden, it needs to mature quickly. Got 42 days from here until the average first freeze date, and so you also want to feed them adequately.
Right, and a lot of those plants will survive the frost, but they need to be adequate size.
That's right.
And so let's talk about fertilizing. Generally, what do you recommend in the fall garden?
So I heard something very interesting. Instagram is an amazing thing. They have all these little memes and all, and I saw a little picture out there. Then it said, if you eat the fruit or the root, it needs full sun. If you eat the leaves, some shade will do. And that's kind of the way you think about
very wise.
I'm sorry, it is very wise.
Yeah.
I love those little sayings and all that can help you remember things. But anyway, when you feed these things, there's a proper time to feed. So your leafy greens and all of those, they're going to mature much faster. So right now, from seed, we could plant the lettuces, we could start planting the spinaches, the mustards, the kales, the arugulas, all of that. And so you're going to feed these things, and most of these things you're going to feed with whether you're organic or commercial, you're going to want to try to get about a 3-1-2 ratio. So you want to give these things some nitrogen,
Right.
but they do need some potassium and phosphorus as well. And so with the leafy greens, you put it out there, feed them at least once a week. We recommend on the organic products, you would put out about 3/4 of a cup to about a 25 square foot. So for about a 5x5 or an 8-foot, 3-foot wide row, you're going to put out about 3/4 of a cup. And then for the commercial fertilizers, you're going to step that down to about 1/3 of a cup, something in there. They're a little more potent. Another thing that's important on feeding these plants is timing. And so, you have to remember that nitrogen grows green stuff. And so you want to put as much nitrogen as you can on your leafy vegetables and all. But like when you get into your other things, like if you put your tomatoes and your eggplants and you brought them through, you probably don't want to pump a whole lot of fertilization to them until they actually set fruit that's about marble size. Then you want to start working that fertilizer in directly or around the plant. So
we've talked about transplants. Are there any things that can still be seeded in right now that you can be successful with?
Lots of things can be seeded in right now. So most of the root crops, and I've got this problem. I think a lot of gardeners have this problem. When you're putting these root crops out and everything, think about succession planting. So you're going to plant your turnips right now, your rutabagas, your beets, your radishes. And I might be the only person left in America that likes radishes, but I grow radishes.
I like radishes.
I grow 3 or 4 varieties every year. I love radishes. But you can plant all of those now, and you can also start planting all of your greens. So your lettuces, your spinach, kale, chard. So this is a good time for seed. And one thing that's really good too, a lot of people, you nursed your tomatoes through the summer and you've got your tomatoes in these great big cages.
Right.
Well, a lot of times you'll have little pockets in between your tomato cages, and those will provide a little natural shade, which they will like. They like that anyway. But our temperatures right now, we can still have a 100-degree day.
Sure.
It's unusual, but if you do have that 100-year day and you've got tender starts up there, they're going to like any shade that you can get. So I have 3 lettuces that I like a lot. So one of them is Butter Crunch. Butter Crunch makes a nice loose head, and it's a very chartreusey color. And so when I garden, I like my garden to be attractive.
Sure.
That's one thing that I like about the lettuces is you can introduce a lot of different colors in there, especially since the lettuces, you might want to put them in a little shadier spot. Having these bright chartreuses and everything in there kind of brighten up the garden. Another one of my favorite lettuce is red sails, and I love to use red sails like in containers. They just look lovely. They're just a very lovely burgundy color.
Yeah, I know you like broccoli too.
Comet is probably the one I grow the most. There's a couple others, but one of them's escaping me. Comet and it's a space name.
Not asteroid.
It's not asteroid, but it's a.
That's all right. That's all right. I want to spend just a little bit of time talking about your ownership now of Texas Gardener Magazine. Big challenge, but pretty exciting, I'm sure.
It has been exciting. I wrote for the magazine for years, and I was really proud of that. I mean, Texas Gardener has been around. When we put out the next issue that, the people that subscribe will be getting in a couple of weeks, that will start the 38th year for Texas Gardener. So it was started in 81 by Chris Corby, and so I'm very excited to have taken it over. It's exciting. I will say that. It's a lot of work.
I'm sure it is.
But it is an outstanding product, and I really am glad to take on this challenge.
Well, it's been a good friend to the Texas gardening community for a long time, and it's in very good hands now. So we certainly wish you the very best with Texas Gardening Magazine. We also really appreciate you coming on board and sharing with us how to get things really going or re-going, in some cases, in the fall vegetable garden. So thanks so much for being with us.
Well, thank you, Tom.
All right. Good to have you. And coming up next, it's Daphne.